All right, folks, look, we got to talk about this, Lou. We've been down this road several times before. Things change quickly,
Yeah.
right? Timing, though, when are we expecting Helene to make its way towards our area and actually have some impacts?
So here, things do change quickly. One thing, though, that hasn't changed since overnight is the forecast track, at least the center line track within the cone, the timing and the impacts. Those three things, which are the three things that only matter, really,
Right.
is pretty consistent from when you went to bed last night, if you watched at 11, to what we're talking about right now, since the latest update came in 15 minutes ago, so fresh information. What has changed is strength, the size, it's massive, and we are anticipating a little later on this morning, maybe the 8 o'clock, as early as the 8 o'clock update, we could have a hurricane, conservatively 11, but I think by this morning, before we're talking at noon, we'll have a hurricane crossing into the Gulf of Mexico.
So back to the timing, what are you thinking for impacts here?
The impacts are going to start Thursday, really before noon. You're going to start to feel kind of the freshening winds, maybe a couple of rain bands coming in, but as far as worst impacts, afternoon, evening, and I put it at the bottom, many impacts overnight, but this might need to be lifted. If I could just copy and paste and put it right here front and center. We got to remember overnight is a particularly important note, because if you're trying to fall asleep Thursday night and Friday, we're going to need to have ways to get in touch with you, right? So have the weather radio, or the First Coast News app's a great way to go, because you turn on your location, plus you turn on those notifications, and it's hyper specific getting you those notifications overnight, so you can hear the phone and you can get to the TV, because we're going to be broadcasting constantly as this thing is making landfall, of course, and before, as we're starting to feel impacts. But we gotta have you prepared for if a tornado warning were to pop, because this is going to be very likely being on what is known as the dirty side, the right side of the storm. So the cone pretty well staying the same as of the 5 o'clock update, pretty consistent. Centerline track still holding up and over the Appalachia Bay area there, and the western edges. We'll see if we get any windshield wiper action, but the further west we see the track, the better for local impacts with Helene. An update for our tropical alerts as far as hurricane warnings. Now hurricane warning in effect for all of Columbia County now. So really the only county in our First Coast and technical viewing area is what we'd say that could see us is going to be Lake City and the surrounding county, so I-75 corridor, but this also includes a portion of Alachua County, but that portion that is west of 75. So if you have interest there in Alachua County, hurricane conditions are likely over the next 36 hours here. And so that means for Lake City, gusts up and over 80 miles an hour, sustained winds in those hurricane levels. This is going to be a pretty big wind event for you in Lake City. Now we are in tropical storm warnings for everyone along the First Coast. You'll probably get those alerts sent to your phone. You're hearing that this morning. That's new. Tropical storm warning as of 5 a.m. for everybody in the First Coast and our Southeast Georgia friends. Still in the tropical storm watch range, but that's just because of timing. That's going to change as we get to the warning level, which would be 36 hours away from feeling the specific impacts. Your wind gust futurecast. So when we're going to feel the impact. So this is Thursday at 2 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and start to get 40 and 50 mile an hour wind gusts from St. Augustine to Valdosta. So all of us will be in those big gusts according to this in particular computer model. Look at overnight though. Okay, so we're talking midnight and after, so into wee hours of Friday when most people will be sleeping. Waycross could get wind gusts of 80 to 90 miles an hour. Lake City way up and over 57, as you can see highlighted here in the plot. Valdosta at 70, and even here as far as Mayport away, 50 and 60 mile an hour wind gusts are likely with this system from Thursday late afternoon into overnight Friday, which is why we have this highlighted here for our weather impact alert. Let's be ready for Thursday, and even as we're going to bed Thursday night when we typically be sleeping, let's have a way to get alerts sent to you directly as the overnight hours begin into Friday.